Hi guys, very good evening to you. Today I'm gonna talk about one of the issues which my student shared with me, and the issue was something like this. He has this data, he has some alphabets, it could be numeric as well, and he wanted to have the output in this way, right? I have another video text to column wherein I have shown this. The same task can be achieved quite easily with the help of the text to column. But the thing is, this time he actually, you know, wasn't interested in doing the text to column. If you do not know about the text to column, please watch my video. I have uh, given the solution for this kind of a problem by using the text to column, but this time he wanted to use some formula, right? Since he asked me, so I thought, okay, why not to take up the challenge and let's see, what we can do, if we can use some formula or not. And then I came up with the there is an array formula. If you guys do not know the arrays, then I would say that it would be a little difficult for you to understand this, but then it's always good to start. You can watch this video and you can get the kind of understanding that how arrays works. So before I go further, I must tell you that arrays are the most powerful formulas which are shared by the Microsoft, and it is quite sad that many people, many users who are very good in Excel, they know a lot of things about the Excel, but they actually stay away from the arrays, because generally it has initially we get when we see the arrays, you normally get the feeling that they are quite difficult to develop and to understand, but it is not actually the case. If you start from the basic, definitely you can understand the arrays, and once you get the kind of understanding on the arrays, I must tell you that sometimes the codes which can be like this in this particular task can be quite easily achieved through VBA. But if you don't know the VBA, the coding, the programming language, then you can, with the help of the arrays, you can do really a lot of things, and you can do wonders. In fact, I just love arrays, and I can promise you, after watching this video, you would definitely fall in love with the arrays. And it sounds quite scary initially, but then the moment you start practicing, and you can join even the classes. I train my people especially on the advanced level courses, so you can definitely get back to me in case if you like the video. So in this particular situation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use couple of formulas like mid, row, offset, then length function, len. Possibly we may use indirect as well. Now you might be thinking that, wow, these are the formulas which you might have not even heard, and if you have heard it, possibly you never use them, right? And let me give you a surprise that I'm not gonna use these formulas one by one, right? I'm not gonna make separate formulas. When I talk about the arrays, I'm going to tell you that how you can combine all these formulas together and can make a one solid, very powerful formula. So let's go ahead, and so I'm assuming that you guys know all these formulas, and especially student for whom I'm going to make this video, I'm making this video, he must be knowing all the things, right? He actually wrote me an email, and he was looking for this thing. So let's start, and very soon I'm going to upload many other videos as well on these formulas. So but yes, right now the motive is to give you the solution of this particular kind of a challenge. I would say that yes, a challenge, because this is when I'm gonna finish up with this formula, you will see that how long the formula would be and how dynamic and how powerful it is going to be. All right, so I'm not gonna take much of your time, let me quickly start. So what you're supposed to do is, actually, let me just tell you the idea behind this. In order to solve this issue, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to separate these elements. I'm going to find their positions, these alphabets, without comma. As you see, there are the commas, they are separated by the comma. So what I'll do is I'll try to find the position of A, and then I'll try to find the position of B, D, and so on. And when I find their positions by the help of the function mid, I'll start retrieving their I'll start extracting their values, right? So let's see how we're gonna do it. But initially, what you're supposed to do is, you are supposed to create an array which has the same number of elements which are available in this text. For example, if you count this a comma b comma c, and we have 3 4 5 6 7 8, maybe 9, 3 4 5 6 7 8, yeah, we have the 9 characters here. So first of all, we need to form an element which has 9 elements, right? So in order to do that, I'm going to use the offset function, right? For people who already know these functions, I'm sure that they will learn something out of it, and they can take up their advanced level learning to the next level, because this video really talks a lot of advanced stuff, right? So let's start it. I'm going to give the reference to this, as the formula speaks about it. So offset can be used in two ways, right? Either it can be used with all these parameters, height, width, row, columns, and or it could be used with only reference and row columns, or it could be used with the row and the height and the width. So there are basically three methods you can use the offset, right? So I'm not gonna go into the detail, but yes, I'm just explaining you that because I'm writing this formula, so you should actually have a little bit of idea, what does offset actually does. So I'm going to start this. I'm going to leave these parameters, rows and columns, because I'm going to use this offset formula as an array formula, right? I'm not going to use this as a normal formula. So I will use the Control Shift Enter instead of pressing the Enter, right? So in the height parameter, because I want to create the array which has the 9 elements, so obviously I'll use the length function, right? Length, it does what, if you ask me? It actually counts the number of the characters. So the width, the next parameter width, I'll keep it 1 only, because I am not interested in catching the other columns A, B, C. I'm interested only in catching the A column, which is just the one column. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control Shift Enter, which is the way of entering the array formula. So you see the curly brackets are there. This is I haven't generated these curly brackets. They are automatically generated when I press Control Shift Enter. Now I'm gonna press F9. F9 is the way you can do the postmortem of your this array formula, and you can check whether the results are correct or not. Now you see I have got here 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, whatever the numbers, the elements are here, bifurcated, separated by this semicolon. So it has exactly the same number of zeros as you have here, right? But that's not the motive. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna convert them into 1 2 3 4 5 7, right? So to do that, I'm going to use the row formula, which will return me the row number of each element. So eventually what will happen is, when I see this now, it is giving me the number of the elements. So it has 9 elements, right? So let me tell you, if I'm going to delete this, maybe let's say like this, I have deleted these numbers. Now you come back here and you check, press F9, and you see that automatically, the numbers are now 7 instead of the 9. So this is a dynamic array. It will automatically change the number of the elements depending upon what you have here in A1 cell, right? So now we have created the array, and now what we are going to do is we are actually going to create an array which has all these elements, and then we are going to put a condition that wherever you find the comma sign, or in other words, wherever you find the alphabet instead of this special character comma, you should return the value. You should return the true, right? So let's do the second step now. What I'm going to do is I have the row numbers over here. So I will simply, what I'll do is let me copy this formula, because I know that for people who don't have any idea about the arrays, they may forget this. So let me write this somewhere here, and instead of this formula, let me show the output here. So I'm pressing the enter. So remember guys, this formula which I have used here, this is giving this kind of a output, right? So this is an array which has the 7 elements, and 7 elements are here because we have actually used the length function. So what does length function does is, length actually, if I start counting this number, if I want to count the characters and I press enter, you see I get the 7, the length of this A1 cell, right? So it has a 7 characters. So that's why in order to make this dynamic, I have used this length function in the height parameter. This is the height parameter. So what will happen is whenever this string will increase or decrease depending upon that, this length function will automatically change, and I will be passing that number into height, and accordingly my number of elements will increase or decrease. That's the trick, right? So now what we are supposed to do is we are actually going to use the med function, right? So let me use the med function. As I said in the previous before when I was about to start this video, that you're supposed to know all these formulas. So I'm assuming again that you should know the med function. So med does what is look at the parameters text, start number, and number characters. Text is means that this is the text where actually I want to extract the numbers and the start number. So normally when you use the functions without arrays, the start number always says that from which position you want to start, from first, second, third, fourth, and so on, right? But in this case it is going to act as an array, so it means that it will have the 7 elements, these elements 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So it means that this, when I'm gonna plug in this, I'm gonna enter this, control shift enter, this row function will take all the numbers one by one, and it is a kind of a loop, you know, generally which we use in the VBA in our programming. So let me show you. The last parameter is the number of characters. So I'm interested in extracting only one parameter so that I can get the numbers like a comma b and comma d and comma e and, you know, so on, right? So let's see now. Let me press control shift enter, right? Now I'm gonna check the value, so I'll press F9. Wow, can you see that? This is amazing, right? So you have the A, you have the comma, and then B, and then comma, and then D, and so you have extracted all the elements, and now they are a part of this array. So now what I'm going to do is, which is the most important step, is that let me show you this. Let me copy this again so that you can check this and you can correlate this. Let me write it somewhere else. Let me show you the output. So in order to see the output, you always press F9. You know, first you press F2, you go into the edit mode, and then you press F9. So these are the basics, you know, which you're supposed to know if you want to understand this kind of a problem, you know. So I have this array, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a condition that in this entire array, please start from the A till E and check that if there is any alphabet like A, B, D, and E, then give us a result, which means that give us the true, and otherwise give us the false. So what I'm going to do is, this is how basically you work on the arrays when you put the conditions. So I'm going to close this entire thing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that not equals to comma, and let me press control shift enter. All right, let's check. So now we have got true, false, true, false, true, false, right? So now it means, in other words, I have got, okay, so let me, before I again telling you that what does it mean, because you know, you may not be able to understand this. Let me put the value here again separately so that you can refer to it, right? So you see, this was the array, and with the help of this condition not equals to comma, because I'm saying that, you know, in this array, wherever you find this not equals to comma, then give us the result. So obviously on every comma where I have, you know, it is going to return me the false, as you can see here, right? So A, for A I have the true, for the next comma I have the false, and for the next B I have the true. So similarly for the last E I have the true. So we have the combination of true, false, true, false, true, false. An array actually works on the true, false combination, right? So if you're very good in the programming, or if you are a very good student, if you know the maths, you know, or maybe if you're a person who can really think, who is very creative and who can really build up the logics, it doesn't matter whether it is Excel, you know, I'm talking about the general life, you can actually be very good, you know, pretty good in the arrays, because they work on these kind of a thought process, you know, they work on these kind of a logics. It's all about the true and false combinations. So why we are doing it, I'll just tell you in the moment. Now what we're going to do is, on every true I'm going to find the position. I'm going to return the number. Number means that now A stands at 1 and B stands at 3 and D stands at 5. So wherever I have the true, what I'm going to do is I'm going to return their position. So in order to return their position, you know, what I'm going to do is, it's very tricky, guys. I'm going to multiply this array with this array. Right, so what will happen is, when you multiply true with the 1, eventually you will get the 1, and when you multiply with the false with the 2, you will get the 0. And for people who don't know this thing, I'm just going to take just 1 minute on this, and I'm going to tell you this basically how this happens in the arrays. You have this true combination. Now what if I say that you need to multiply these two numbers? Okay, now if you multiply these two numbers, sorry, not the numbers but the content, the cells, what will happen? Eventually it will give you the error, because you really can't do your mathematics on the text entries. We all know that, right? So if you multiply this 1 by 3 or 3 by 1, obviously you know that you'll get some output, but you can't really multiply the text entries. But in case of the true, when I write this, you can't consider this function, this content, this true, as a text. Why? Because when you multiply this true by true, you'll not get the error, right? You'll get the 1, right? If you multiply true by false, you'll get the 0. So you multiply this false, let's say if you're going to multiply this false by false, it will give you the 0. So what does that mean? It means that when you work on the arrays, always remember that true means 1 and false means 0, right? Even if you use the when you use the VLOOKUP formulas, you know, it always suppose I'm gonna write here VLOOKUP formula, right? You see here the range lookup, if I'm gonna enter this parameter, you know, on this range lookup, you see it always says true and false. So many people use 0 if they want the exact match, but many people also write false, one and the same thing, right? So Excel always consider true as 1 and false as 0. So what we're going to do here is we're going to multiply these this array with this array, and so wherever the true is going to be multiplied, I'll get the same number back, and wherever this false is going to be multiplied, it is going to give me the 0 value. So eventually what will happen, I'll just show you. So let me first how we made this array is from this formula, right? So I'm not going to write this formula again. I'm just copying it, though you can make it, that's not the problem. So close this array again and multiply this with this. I've just copied it, right? Now see what will happen. Oh, I beg your pardon, my selection was wrong. So I have to select this cell only, okay? And I'm gonna write this, and before multiplying it, it's better to close the things, you know, with the help of open parenthesis and close parenthesis. And now let us see. Okay, so now I have got the number 1 here. In order to do in order to check the values whether they are correct or not, I'm gonna press F9. Wow, amazing. You see 1 3 5 7. So these are exactly the positions of the alphabet which I was just talking about, right? Isn't it amazing? All right, so now we have got the values, we have got the positions, I would say, to be very precise. And let me again enter this formula. Let me write this formula somewhere here so that you can correlate it. And I'm going to press F9, and I'm going to remove this equals to. So now we have got the position 1 3 5 7, and you see A has a position 1, and then the next position is for the comma. The comma is, so we don't need the comma, right? We don't need the comma because we want to extract the position like this, A B D E. We just we are interested only extracting the alphabet. So what I have done is I have actually made them 0. Now what? So I have all the positions of the alphabets. Now what we are going to do is we are actually going to be use this function. So here is one more function which you are going to use, and I assume that you must be knowing the large function. Large is very powerful function. It actually just to quickly tell you what does this function does. Suppose I have some numbers here. Now what if I ask you that you need to find the second largest number? What you'll do is you will select this table and you'll say second. You get the second largest number, right? So this function works like max, but the max has one limitation, that max always finds the largest number. But with the help of this large function, you can even find the third largest number, right? So if I write 3, then it is going to give me the third largest number. Similarly, you have the small function, so I'm not going to talk about the small. So these functions we are going to use all together. So now what I'm going to do is of this array, you know, where I have over here in this, let me just color this. So output of this array is this, right? 1 3 5 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that please give me the first largest number. So obviously what this array will return, 7. Then in the next when I drag this formula, because I need this output in the downward direction, here I will say that you are supposed to return the second largest number. So second largest number would be 5, and similarly third largest number, so it would be 3, and then the fourth largest number, which would be 1, and then the fifth largest number, which would be 0. So I don't need the 0, so I'll just end up my formula over here. Now once I get all these positions, it is so easy for me to basically use this mid function. What I'll do is I'll say that go into this text, and the start number has to be 7, and the number of characters you're supposed to retrieve is 1. So I'll get this E value. Now when I drag this formula, let me freeze this, right? Because I am interested in A1 cell, so I'm going to freeze this function here, and you see you'll get your output like this. This is amazing, right? So I was just explaining you this. I have made this in parts so that you can understand what the array is going to do. But when I work on the array, I'm not going to use these helper columns, right? And that's the beauty of the array. That's why they are known as so dynamic. You see, guys, we have already made this such a long formula, and it is using so many formulas: offset, length, row, and then mid. So, and we are not yet stopped, right? We are yet to make this formula. We are yet to do so many things. So the very first thing is, as I was telling you, that I'm going to find the largest number. Right now, here is the trick, guys. I'm not going to write this 7th largest, 5th largest, 3rd largest, manually. I will not. I hate writing manual things, because I know Excel very well. right? So when I say I mean to say that you guys, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this function row. What will happen is that row function actually returns the row of the selected cell. So if I say this, that row, I need to find the row, so automatically this will give me the 1, and if I drag this down, automatically I'll get the numbers 1 2 3 4 5, right? Because row function, what it does is it returns the selected row of the selected cell. So that's what I'm going to do here is, in order to find the large number, let me quickly show you what I really mean. So this is the large function. I'm going to start this large function. I'll start the bracket. So the moment you started bracket, it says the array means table. So that's my table, because my table has all these elements 1 0 3 0 5 0 0 0 7s, right? So I don't have to select any table. This is going to be going to act as my table. So now the second is the kth. K means that do you want the second largest number, first largest number, third largest number, or what? So instead of writing this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be very, very tricky here. I'm going to use this function row. So automatically this row, when it is going to apply on this cell, which is the J1, it will see that the row of the J1 is obviously 1, as I was just explaining you, right? So why I'm using this row function? Because the moment I'm going to drag this formula down, automatically what will happen, this row function, instead of returning me 1, it will return me the second value, right? It will return me 2 number. Why? Because then at that point in time it would be going to use on this cell, which is my J2 cell. So that's the trick, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Ctrl Shift Enter. So you see I have got the value here 7. Now let me check before I drag this formula down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze all these cells. So this is the absolute referencing which I'm doing. So this is again a very basic thing which every person who wants to learn the advanced or the intermediate Excel should know that. So I'm not going to talk about the significance of this dollar, right? Because this is quite common. You are supposed to know this. And for people who doesn't know it, dollar basically used to freeze the values. So you always you have to be very wise, while manipulating, doing the manipulations in the formula, whether the formula should go with the increment, of the row, or it should when it let's say if I'm dragging some formula from left to right, whether the column has to be changed or whether the row has to be changed, and all that kind of a stuff, right? So on this we have an entirely different chapter. We can have a long session on that, but that's not the motive of this video. So I have freezed all the required values, and I think I'm quite okay with that. So all right, so let me press Ctrl Shift Enter, and let me drag this. Yes, wow. So I'm getting all the numbers, you see. So 0 number is here. So okay, let me put it somewhere else. I was just explaining you here the length function, so I don't need the 0 position, so that's fine, right? So these are the numbers which I have extracted, I have retrieved by using a single formula. I was as I was explaining you here, that I had to use these 2 columns, and this is how this whole science actually is working. Now what you're gonna do is, I was just explaining you, I was just trying to show you this. Now since you have seen this, so we'll immediately start with this mid function, and text, that's my text, and I'll start with the start number. Now start number would be here what? That it's gonna be 7, right? Because the largest number, we are finding it with the help of the row function, so it's gonna give me the first largest number. And afterwards the last parameter is number character. I'm interested in extracting in only 1 character, so I'll say Ctrl Shift Enter, bingo. And now if I'm gonna drag this, oops, it doesn't work. Anyways, let me see. I know why it did not work, because we haven't freezed this, Every time it has to look in the A1 cell, because A1 is our target, right? So that was the reason. All right, so let me drag this. Yeah, so we got it, right? We got it. So we don't need this value, so you just remove it. So this is how you can actually, with the help of the array function, you can extract these values like this. And look at the formula, guys. Isn't it unbelievable? I think it's amazing, right? It's not amazing because I have done it. Obviously many people can do it, I know that, but whenever you build something like this, so strong and so sophisticated, you actually feel so happy. You feel that you have done something great, right? So this is what I actually teach on my trainings, how you can be a great on using these array formulas, and they are actually very good. And I should be very, we should be very thankful to Microsoft that they have given us this kind of a function, functionality. So that's awesome. And now what you can do is, I'm just going to take 5 minutes more, because I know that question may arise in your mind that what if I want to get this data in the ascending order, because this is getting an EDBA. So guys, if your alphabet is like this, obviously needless to say, you can paste value this and you can definitely sort this, right? You can use this sorting, right? So you can do the sorting and this output you can get it. But what if you want, again, you want to use the formula, and so there is a very good formula which is called the indirect formula, right? So you can further use this indirect formula, and how it's going to work is indirect always works on the reference. So you know that what is the row number of this A cell. So what you're going to do is this is the 5th row, right? So simply write here 5 and subtract 1 from it, because now you are going to do this in the upward direction. And here you simply go and plug in this formula indirect, I beg your pardon. So use this indirect function, and this indirect is going to return the value. This actually is why it is called the indirect, because it doesn't go directly into the cell. It uses some mediator in order to reach out to some other cell, right? So that's how this function is prepared. I again assume that you must be knowing the basics of the indirect. So what you need to do is, let me write this function somewhere here, so that maybe somewhere here, okay, somewhere here, so that you can see. So I'll say indirect. Now it is asking for me the cell address, so I know that it's the J column. So what I'll do is I'll write the J column, right, and I'll concatenate it with this row, right? So automatically what will I get in return? I'll get the J5, because you are concatenating J with the 5. Now if you ask me that why you have put this within quotes, because I know that this entire value EDDA is in the J column, so I really don't have to freeze it, or I really don't have to, I mean to say that I don't have to actually do much changes on it. So I'm keeping this J column because this is going to be applicable for this entire output, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press enter. All right, so we are getting here 0, and why we are getting 0, let's check F2. So let's check why we are getting this 0, and because of the fact that I have written here 5, so it's going on the 5th row, and 5th row is 0, right? So what you can do is, instead of choosing this 1, you can simply say that I2, right, which is going to be your 4th row, and you can press enter. Now you drag this formula down and you'll get the output. So this is how you can work using the indirect function as well, in case if your requirement is something like this, you want the things in the ascending order, right? So that's it guys for now. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did, and so we had learned something very nice, something very classy today. So don't forget to subscribe, and because I will be uploading many videos with the same kind of stuff, and you can really learn a lot. And in case if you would like to start a training, basic, intermediate and advanced Excel, or maybe the VBA, please let me know about it. And this is my email ID, ajk81@gmail.com, and these are my videos which you can again watch. The first one is for the demo video, which is 28 minutes video, and I have actually mentioned each and everything about my course detail. And the second thing is about this link. It is again the text to column, which I was just talking about in the initially I was talking about, right? So that's it guys for now, and hope you have a very good day and very happy learning. And so let's meet again very soon with some new video, with some new stuff, right? All right, bye bye.